Here's a question for you, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you sat down to do something important, study, work, read a book, and actually finished it without checking your phone even once?
Yeah, take a moment. Really think about it. Because if you're struggling to remember, you are not alone. Not even close.
Studies show that on average, people lose their focus are you ready for this? Every 47 seconds when they're working on a screen. 47 seconds. That's less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee.
Which, by the way, I was making a cup of coffee when Mary sent me that statistic this morning, and I had to stop and reread it 3 times because I kept getting distracted. The irony was absolutely painful.
Classic Alex. Okay, so today we are diving deep into one of the biggest challenges of modern life, focus and distraction. Why our brains wander, what's actually happening inside your head when you can't concentrate, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Stay with us because later in the show, we have some genuinely life-changing tips and a story from Alex that I think is going to make a lot of you feel very, very seen.
Please don't tease the story already, Mary.
I'm absolutely teasing the story. Welcome, welcome, welcome to English Podcast Daily. I'm Mary.
And I'm Alex. And if you're new here, first of all, huge welcome to you. We are so glad you found us.
English Podcast Daily is the show where we talk about real, interesting topics in clear, natural English. Perfect for B2 learners who want to improve their listening, pick up vocabulary, and honestly, just enjoy a great conversation. Every single week, rain or shine, even when Alex forgets to charge his microphone.
That happened one time. One time. And for the record, we still recorded the episode on my phone in a closet because professionalism.
Okay. So let's get into today's topic, focus and distraction. And honestly, I want to start with a story because a few months ago, something happened to me that I still think about almost every day. And it kind of changed how I see the whole concept of attention.
Oh yeah, tell them. I've heard this story and it's really good.
Okay, so it was a Sunday afternoon. I had the whole day free, which almost never happens, right? No plans, no meetings, nothing. And I had this big project I'd been putting off for weeks. I needed to write a long report for a course I was taking online, about 12 pages. And I thought, okay, today is the day. This is it. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to focus, and I'm going to finish this thing. So I made my coffee, the perfect cup. I'm talking about the perfect cup. I sat at my desk, I opened my laptop, I opened the document, and then I thought, I should probably check the news quickly, just to know what's going on in the world. 5 minutes tops.
Oh no, I already know where this is going.
An hour and a half later, I had read 17 news articles, watched 2 YouTube videos about a topic I don't even care about, something about the history of competitive hot dog eating, and I had ordered a new plant for my apartment. A plant, Alex. A plant that I did not need.
Oh, the plant. I love the plant detail. How is the plant, by the way?
The plant is doing great, actually. Much better than the report was going at that point. So by the time I finally started actually writing, it was almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had wasted the entire morning and most of the afternoon. And the worst part? When I sat down to write, I couldn't concentrate properly because I felt guilty about all the time I had already lost. So I was distracted by my own guilt about being distracted. It was like a distraction spiral.
A distraction spiral. That is such a perfect way to put it. And honestly, I think so many people listening right now are nodding along because we have all been there. That exact situation. You had the time, you had the intention, and somehow nothing happened.
Exactly. And if you've ever felt that way, that weird mix of frustration and confusion about why you just can't seem to focus, you are absolutely not alone. And hey, if this is already hitting close to home for you, I really want you to stay with us because we are going to get into the real reasons why this happens. And spoiler, it's not because you're lazy. It's actually much more interesting than that.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the science. Why does this actually happen? Why do our brains do this to us?
Okay, So this is where it gets really fascinating, and I promise we're going to keep it simple. No complicated neuroscience jargon. So the first thing to understand is that your brain is not actually designed to focus for long periods of time. Like, evolutionarily speaking, constant focus was dangerous.
Right, yeah. If our ancestors were completely focused on one thing, they might miss a predator sneaking up behind them.
Exactly. Your brain is hardwired to scan the environment for new information constantly. It's a survival mechanism. The problem is that we now live in a world that is absolutely full of new information, all day, every day. Notifications, headlines, messages, videos. Your brain is basically getting 100 signals every minute saying, hey, look at this. Hey, check this out. Hey, this might be important.
And the brain responds to all of it because that's what it's built to do.
Exactly. And there's something really important called dopamine, which is a chemical in your brain that's connected to reward and pleasure. Every time you get a new notification or you click on a new video, your brain gets a tiny little hit of dopamine. It feels good, just for a second, just a little buzz. And your brain starts to crave that buzz. So checking your phone isn't just a habit, it's actually a kind of addiction. A mild one, yes, but a real one.
That is such an important point, and I think it explains why you can sit down with your phone to check one thing and look up 40 minutes later completely confused about how you got to a video of someone teaching their cat to play piano.
Oh, I've been to the cat piano video place. It's a good place, no regrets there.
But there's another piece to this that I find really interesting, and it's about something called the default mode network. Have you talked about this one before?
Oh, yes, go ahead. This one is so good.
Okay, so the default mode network is basically what your brain does when you're not focusing on anything specific. It's your brain's rest state. And here's the wild thing. It's not actually resting. It's incredibly active. It's processing emotions, reviewing memories, imagining the future, making connections between ideas. It's doing really important background work.
Right.
So daydreaming is not wasted time. Your brain actually needs those moments of unfocused wandering. The problem is that most of us now fill every single gap, every spare second with our phones. We're on the bus, we check Instagram. We're waiting for the coffee, we scroll TikTok. We never give our brains that downtime they actually need.
That's such a powerful observation, and it connects to something else I read about, the idea that the more we interrupt our brain's natural rhythms, the harder it becomes to get into what researchers call a flow state. You know, that magical zone where you're completely absorbed in what you're doing, time disappears, and everything just clicks.
Oh, flow state. Yes, I love flow state. When I get into flow state while writing, it feels almost magical. Like I blink and suddenly 2 hours have passed and I have a full draft in front of me and I don't even fully remember writing it.
Yes, exactly that feeling. And getting into that state is genuinely possible for everyone. But the way our phones and apps are designed today, they are literally engineered to pull you out of flow state as often as possible. Because every moment you spend in deep focus is a moment you're not watching an ad or clicking on something.
That's a kind of uncomfortable truth, isn't it? The technology we use every day is designed by very smart people whose job it is to make sure you can't stop using it. It's not an accident that social media is addictive. It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. And knowing that is really the first step. Because once you understand what's happening, once you see the system, you can start to make different choices. And we'll get to the practical stuff, I promise. But first, Alex, it's your turn. You have a story. And I know the listeners have been waiting because I teased it at the beginning. Tell them.
Oh, okay, fine. So this is a story about a specific week in my life that I now look back on as my personal rock bottom when it comes to distraction. And also, strangely, the week that turned everything around for me. So it's a good news story in the end, I promise.
Set the scene.
Okay, so this was about 2 years ago. I was in the middle of preparing for a really important presentation at work, a big one. Like the kind of presentation where your manager's manager is in the room, and there's a projector, and everyone has printed your slides and is looking at them, that level of important.
Oh, that sounds stressful.
Very stressful. And I had a full week to prepare, 7 days, which sounds like a lot. And it was a lot. Objectively, it was more than enough time, but I could not make myself sit down and work on it. Every single day I would say, okay, today is the day. I'll start after lunch. Then after lunch, I'd say, I'll start at 3. At 3, I'd say, you know what? I work better in the evening. By evening, I was too tired. And so the days just slipped away.
Right. Yeah, that negotiation with yourself. I know it so well.
It's a trap. And meanwhile, I was doing everything else. I reorganized my entire bookshelf alphabetically. I deep cleaned my kitchen. I watched an entire documentary series about ocean life. I was incredibly productive at doing everything except the one thing I needed to do.
Productivity procrastination. That's a real thing, by the way. When you do all these other tasks to feel like you're being busy, so you can avoid the one thing you're actually afraid of.
Yes, and I think that's exactly what it was, fear. I was afraid of starting, because starting meant confronting the possibility that I might not do it well enough. So avoidance felt safer than trying and failing. Anyway, so it gets to the night before the presentation. It's 9 p.m. I have nothing, not a single slide, and I genuinely panic.
Oh, no.
Full panic, heart racing, hands sweating, the whole thing. And then, and this is the part that's strange, I put my phone in a drawer, in another room. I closed every browser tab except the one I needed. I turned off all notifications. I made a glass of water, and I sat down. And I said to myself, just start. Don't try to write something perfect. Just write something, anything.
And then?
And then I worked for 4 hours straight. 4 hours. No breaks, no phone, no distractions. I barely noticed the time passing. I finished the entire presentation. I rehearsed it twice. And I went to bed at 1 in the morning, feeling honestly amazing, like deeply, genuinely proud of myself.
And the presentation?
The presentation went really well. My manager told me afterwards that it was one of the clearest, most well-structured presentations she'd seen from our team that quarter. And I almost laughed because this thing I had spent a week avoiding, this thing I had convinced myself was so overwhelming, once I actually sat down and removed the distractions, it took 4 hours. That was it. 4 hours.
I love that story so much because it shows something really important, that a lot of the suffering around not focusing isn't actually about the task itself. It's about all the mental energy we spend avoiding the task. The resistance is worse than the work.
Exactly. And that was genuinely a turning point for me, because after that night, I started to understand it's not about willpower. It's about environment. It's about removing the things that compete for your attention so that your brain can actually settle into the work.
Yes, and this is the perfect bridge into our practical tips segment, because everything we know about focus, from neuroscience, from psychology, from personal experience, it all points to the same big idea. You cannot rely on motivation or willpower to focus. You have to design your environment. You have to set yourself up for success before you even try.
Great way to put it. So, practical tips. Let's do this. And I want to say up front, these are not tips from some productivity guru who wakes up at 4:30 a.m. and takes ice baths. These are real things that have actually worked for us and for people we know.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, tip number 1, and this is the most important one. Phone out of the room. Not on silent, not face down, out of the room. Because research shows that even if your phone is right next to you on silent, just seeing it reduces your cognitive capacity. Your brain is using energy thinking about the fact that it might buzz. So remove it completely. Put it in another room, put it in a drawer, throw it in the ocean if you need to.
Don't throw it in the ocean.
Just the drawer. Okay, tip number 2. Alex, this one is yours.
Tip number 2, use time blocks, not to-do lists. So instead of having a list that says work on project, you give it an actual time slot in your day. 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., I work on the project. That's it. Nothing else. No checking email, no quick calls. And this works because your brain responds really well to clear boundaries. When it knows this is the time for this specific thing, it can settle. It's the open-endedness of I'll get to it sometime today that creates anxiety and avoidance.
I love that one. And honestly, it's a game changer. I started doing time blocks about 6 months ago, and I cannot believe how much more I get done. Okay, tip number 3. And this one is maybe controversial. Work in short bursts with real breaks. Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique?
Yes, the tomato timer method. Named after a tomato-shaped kitchen timer, for those of you wondering what a pomodoro actually is, it's Italian for tomato.
Ha, yes. So the idea is you work for 25 minutes with complete focus. Then you take a 5-minute break. Then you work for another 25 minutes. After 4 of these cycles, you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. And the reason it works is that it makes focusing feel manageable. Instead of thinking, oh no, I have to focus for 3 hours, you just have to do 25 minutes. Anyone can do 25 minutes.
Right, and those breaks are really important. You're not supposed to check your phone during the break. You're supposed to actually rest, look out the window, drink some water, stretch, let your brain breathe. Because remember what we said earlier, that default mode network needs time to do its thing.
Exactly. Okay, tip number 4, and this one I feel a bit strongly about. Stop multitasking, or at least stop thinking multitasking is a good thing, because it's not. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain cannot truly do 2 cognitive tasks at once. What it's actually doing is switching very fast between 2 tasks, and every switch costs you mental energy and time. Research suggests that multitasking can reduce your productivity by up to 40%.
40%, that is massive. And yet there are still people who list multitasking as a skill on their CV. I've seen it. I've done it. I am not proud.
We've all done it. I think what people mean when they say they can multitask is that they can handle multiple responsibilities, which is different from doing 2 things at the same exact moment. Managing multiple projects is a real skill, but trying to write an email while listening to a meeting while checking the news? No, that's just doing 3 things badly.
Okay, what's tip number 5? Because I feel like we should share at least 5. Or should we do 6? I think we have a good 6th one.
Oh, well, let's do both. Tip number 5, and this is maybe the most underrated one, sleep. I know, everyone says sleep is important, but specifically for focus, sleep is absolutely non-negotiable. When you're sleep deprived, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for attention, planning, and decision-making, it literally starts to shut down. You're trying to focus with the brain that is essentially running on backup power.
And the cruel irony is that when people are behind on their work, the first thing they cut is sleep. They stay up late, they wake up early, and then the next day they can't focus, so they fall further behind, so they sleep less again. It's another spiral. A sleep deprivation distraction spiral.
So true. And tip number 6, which Alex was hinting at, is the idea of a focus ritual. A small, consistent routine that you do before you start work that signals to your brain that it's time to focus. It could be as simple as making tea, putting on a specific playlist, I use lo-fi music personally, and writing down just 3 things you want to accomplish in that session. It doesn't have to be complicated. The key is consistency. You do the same small routine before every work session, and over time, your brain starts to recognize those cues, and it shifts into focus mode automatically.
I love that. Mine is making coffee, the good kind, properly made, and writing 1 sentence in a notebook about what I want to achieve. Just 1 sentence. And something about that physical act of writing it down by hand makes it feel real. Like I've made a commitment to myself.
I love that. And it's free. No app required, no subscription, just a notebook and a pen, which in a world of 100 productivity apps all competing for your attention is kind of a revolutionary act.
Ha, a radical return to paper. Okay, so before we get to the closing, we want to do something we love doing on this show. We want to hear from you. And this is our audience engagement moment.
Yes. So here's our question for you today. What is your biggest distraction? The one thing that steals your focus more than anything else? Is it your phone, social media, a noisy environment, other people, your own thoughts? We want to know. Leave a comment below this episode. Seriously, we read every single comment and we respond to as many as we can.
And it's also great English practice, by the way. Writing in English, even just a few sentences and a comment, is one of the best ways to improve your writing skills. So you're not just helping us, you're helping yourself. Win-win.
It really does mean everything. Okay, we are getting close to the end of today's episode, and I want to leave you with one final thought about focus and distraction, because we've talked about all the science and the tips, but I want to end on something more personal.
Please.
So, I want you to think about the last time you were truly, completely present in something, not thinking about what you had to do next, not worrying about something in the past, not half watching while half scrolling, just fully there. Maybe it was a conversation with someone you love. Maybe it was a walk somewhere beautiful. Maybe it was a piece of music that just grabbed you and held you still for a few minutes.
Yeah, those moments are rare, and they're precious.
They really are. And here's the thing. Attention is not just a productivity tool. It's so much more than that. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. The moments you're fully present for become your memories. The work you pour genuine focus into becomes your proudest achievements. The conversations you're truly in become your deepest relationships. So when we talk about protecting your focus, we're not just talking about getting more done. We're talking about being more alive.
That is beautifully said, Mary. Genuinely, I want to write that down. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. That's going in the notebook.
Please do. Okay, let's do a quick recap before we say goodbye. Today, we talked about why our brains are so easily distracted, the dopamine system, the evolutionary survival wiring, and the way modern technology is designed to exploit those tendencies. We shared 2 personal stories about struggling with and ultimately overcoming distraction. And we gave you 6 real practical tips. Put your phone in another room, use time blocks, try the Pomodoro technique, stop multitasking, prioritize sleep, and create a focus ritual.
6 solid tips. And honestly, you don't need to implement all 6 at once. Just pick one. Just one. Try it this week. See what happens. Small changes, consistently applied, are what actually transform your habits. That's it. That's the whole secret.
Vocabulary moment before we go, because this is an English podcast after all. Today, we use some great B2 words. Distraction, meaning anything that takes your attention away. Dopamine, the brain chemical tied to reward and pleasure. Procrastination, delaying something you should be doing. And flow state, that zone of deep, effortless focus. Try using one of those words in a sentence today, out loud. That's how vocabulary becomes yours. Me neither. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it.
Absolutely. All right, that's it for today's episode of English Podcast Daily. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. It means more than you know. Remember to leave a comment with your biggest distraction, subscribe if you haven't yet, share this episode with a friend who needs it, and take care of your attention. It's one of the most valuable things you have.
I'm Mary.
And I'm Alex.
And this has been English Podcast Daily. We'll see you next week. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep going. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Take care.